Hi, my name is Clara Galbraith. Welcome to today's 10-minute band video on clarinet. As always with this series, we are covering a lot of information very fast, so don't try to do everything all at once. Pause the video at different sections and try it yourself. Also, in the description of the video is a guide to everything we cover, so you can follow along or use it for your own practice. It also has some additional resources to further your studies. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we get started, let's go over how to open the case. It might seem silly to step through this process, but there are a lot of people that have damaged their instruments just by opening their case wrong. First of all, find a nice, flat, even surface to set your case down on. Make sure the top of your case, which is usually the part with the logo, is on top. Do not open your case with the handle up, for everything will fall out. Set it down flat, with the logo on top, and then you're good to just open the latches, and there it is. When needed, you can open your case on your lap. However, make sure that if you do this, the tops of your legs are flat and your body is still, so you do not drop your instrument. Let's take a look at our posture now, without any instruments. Sit with both feet flat on the floor and your sits bones flat on the chair. Make sure your chest is relaxed and open. To do this, find your collarbone, the bones in front of your neck where it connects to your chest, and trace your fingertips out to the edges of your shoulders. Relax your arms in your lap or at your side. Next, we're going to talk about reeds. There are many different reed brands and strengths. Some good brands for beginner reeds are Rico and D'Addario. Some good reed brands for more advanced players are Rico as well and Van Doren. For beginner, I would recommend starting out on a strength of 2 for Rico or D'Addario. Different brands of reeds have different strengths for the same number. Additionally, some reeds use descriptors instead of numbers for reed strength. If this is the case, I would suggest a medium soft reed. I would also recommend saving up and buying a reed case. You can find these for between $15 and $20 for the simple ones. A reed case will help keep your reeds sounding good for longer and is worth the investment because reeds can get expensive. Before playing every time, you will need to soak your reed. Soaking a reed makes the reed moist so that it vibrates more evenly and easily. There are 2 different ways to soak a reed. One is with a small cup of water. An old pill container is a good container to use for this. If you do use a cup of water, make sure you change out the water regularly so it doesn't get gross. Another way to do it, and probably the more common way, is to let the reed soak in your mouth while you put the instrument together. Either way, you should soak your reed for about a minute. Next, we'll go over putting the instrument together. Before putting the instrument together, especially if you're putting it together for the first time, you may need to put cork grease on the corks of your instrument. Cork grease often looks like a chapstick and will come in most clarinet cases. To apply it, simply remove the cover, get a little bit out, and put a tiny bit all the way around on the cork. Alright, let's pick the instrument up. First off, pick up the top joint with your left hand and the bottom joint with your right hand. Hold it gently with your fingers holding down the keys. You want your fingertips to hold down the ring keys, like so. This is important because we have to line it up. There are 2 keys, one on the lower joint and one on the upper joint, that are known as bridge keys. Now what you're going to do is you're going to gently twist the 2 pieces together, keeping the ring keys held down. This is important because the bridge key will move if you're not holding the ring keys down. You want to make sure the bridge keys are lined up exactly. This is important because it's important to the functioning of the instrument. If you're having notes that aren't coming out or things just sound really weird, it's always good to check the bridge key to make sure it's lined up properly. Next, holding these two pieces into your left hand, pick up the bell. The bell is the part of the instrument that looks like a bell. Again, when you're holding the upper and lower joints, hold them gently with your fingers wrapped around the keys so you aren't twisting the keys. Twist the bell on to the instrument gently. Pretty simple. Next, we're going to add the part of the instrument called the barrel. The barrel also looks like its name. This part goes onto the top of the top joint. The barrel looks symmetrical, but it's not. One end is slightly smaller than the other end. The part that goes onto the top joint is the slightly larger end. Again, just twist it onto the instrument. The next piece to add is the mouthpiece. Before you put your mouthpiece on, I'd recommend taking the ligature off. The ligature is the silver part. It holds your reed in place. Set your ligature in a safe place, such as in your case, so it doesn't get lost, stepped on, broken, bent. And once again, hold your instrument gently in one hand and twist the mouthpiece on with the other hand. To line up your mouthpiece, you want the opening of the mouthpiece to line up with the thumb hole and the register key. Right now, mine's a bit twisted. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your ligature and slide it gently onto the mouthpiece. Don't tighten the screws yet. Grab your reed from where it's been soaking and carefully slide it between the mouthpiece and the ligature. Now, you want to line up your reed so there's just a tiny little sliver of the mouthpiece showing at the top. Next, you're going to line up your ligature so that it lines up with the top line on your mouthpiece. Next, you're going to tighten the screws on the ligature. One big mistake is that most people tighten the screws too tightly. You don't need to tighten them much, just enough so you get a little bit of resistance. And then about another quarter turn to a half turn. And there it is. Your instrument is all together. Review the first part of posture we went over earlier with your instrument in a safe place. Carefully pick up your instrument with your right hand wrapping around the lower joint underneath the thumb rest. Bring your left hand to the top joint, hovering your fingers just barely over the keys. For your right hand, you should rest the weight of the instrument from the thumb rest onto your thumb, between the tip of your thumb and the knuckle. For the rest of your fingers, hover them just barely above the keys like you do for the left hand. For both of your hands, your fingers should be curved so that your hands almost form C shapes. This will help you move faster when you get into more technical playing. When holding the instrument, find an angle so that the bell of the instrument is roughly between your knees. You don't want it too far out or too far in towards your body, because these will change your embouchure. What is embouchure? Embouchure is how you hold your mouth when you play an instrument. Let's take a look at our clarinet embouchure. First, rest your top teeth on the top of the mouthpiece, about ½ an inch from the edge of the mouthpiece. I have tape on my instrument to show me where to bring my front teeth to. Bring your top lip down near your teeth. Next, cover your bottom teeth with your bottom lip. Bring your jaw forward and up to the reed. Firm the corners of your mouth and cinch your lips into the mouthpiece. A good way to think of this is your lips should look like the top of a drawstring bag that's been cinched together. One very important thing to keep in mind is that you're not biting the mouthpiece. Biting the mouthpiece leads to a lot of discomfort and can often cause squeaking and a bad sound. Once this feels a little more comfortable, Take a deep breath and blow into the instrument, keeping your tongue high in your mouth. A good way to practice the tongue position is to say the syllable shiu. This note, without any fingers down, is open G. When you're comfortable with playing this note and the embouchure is feeling more familiar, start working down the fingering chart, starting with F, then E, then D, then C. When you're putting fingers down, make sure to cover the holes completely. This can be hard if you have small fingers, but eventually you'll get used to it with time and practice. Next, we're going to talk about articulation. Articulation is how musicians separate notes while playing an instrument. For clarinet, musicians use the tips of their tongues, touching the tips of the reed inside your mouth. When you do this, you should use a two syllable. When you articulate, it's very important to make sure you keep your airstream going the whole time. You want to articulate into the airflow and into the sound. Thank you for watching today's Introduction to Clarinet. Once again, please check out the resource provided in the description of the video. And I hope to see you in more videos soon. Happy practicing!